Hear that sound? That's the future knocking on your door. Gear up for an unprecedented experience with HomeBrew AI. An electrifying community of brainiacs, AI enthusiasts, digital alchemists, and knowledge seekers. This is where fellowship intermingles with creativity. Build bridges with fellow trailblazers, plunge into intellectual odysseys, and let your synapses jive to the cadence of progress. We're embarking on an ambitious endeavor to chronicle the singularity. So head over to HomeBrew AI, where the news is hot, the ideas are brewing in the singularity. Well, that's for you to find out.
I don't have to do a karate intro, do I?
No. What are you saying?
I don't know
Is
karate.
that your music? Oh, yeah. It's Aikido.
My music? What do you mean?
Your music in the background.
You shouldn't hear anything.
Oh, never mind.
Johnny, is there music
press
in
the
the
music.
background?
No. I don't think so. I pressed the
Anything at all.
music button.
Okay. Good news.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
We're good? We're good?
This call is going to be
music button.
intense.
You think so?
It's going to be crazy.
So I did want to
America.
get something out of the way with I still can't figure out X. It won't work. I need someone to teach me the birds and the bees of X or something. It's not working. I am switching ISPs just in case. But I feel insane, Lex. Because I see other people and it works. But mine doesn't work. So it's got to be me. But every other platform works. And I hate myself. And that's where I am right now. But hi, guys. How you doing? Everything good? Everyone? Hello?
Oh, not too bad.
I'm fine.
How's it going?
Better.
Holding down the UK
Better
or
now.
what?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got the coof. I got the actual coof this time, the actual COVID coof, and I
You're
can't
kidding.
taste or smell anything. So like when I was actually sick with the fever, because normally like if I haven't had the flu, so I'm 26. I haven't had the flu since I was like, I don't know, like 20. So I haven't had the flu for like six years. I've got COVID one time, and that was like 2.5 years ago, almost. It would have been the summer, not last summer, not the summer before. I think it was the summer before last. So some about 2 years, a little over 2 years ago. And I was only sick for like a day or two, right? But this time,
What's the
because I haven't
common
gotten
thing, though?
sick, the common theme is that I've been over here
Yeah.
both
You're with-
times in
you're
a
with the
country
Brits
I'm not. Well,
with
it's
no
a country. They're immune to. Well, no, actually it's been really, really like hot recently, and I've been getting out quite a lot. This lighting makes me look a lot more pale. But what it is, I think, is that because I live in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, right? And like I didn't ever got out much. I just go to class and then come home. So like I wasn't really out in the shit immune system wise, right? And you gotta put them in the ring. You gotta let the immune system go a couple rounds, baby. You know what I'm saying? You know, I didn't hear no bell. That's what you got to do. And so I haven't been doing that with my immune system. And so the first, but well, I was a little bit because I was in college. But the last job I worked for like a little less than a year, my boss's wife had an immune issue. And so, like, if anyone was feeling a little off or anyone in their family was sick, they just like not come in. They just like take vacation time. And he'd be like, "Yeah, just take vacation time." And then there'd like no issues whatsoever. And then sometimes he'd even give them hours, right? So like I was around no sick people at all. So then I got over here, and yeah, no, I can't smell anything at all. And I realized that because Jasmine was like, "You smell," and I'm like. No, I don't. I don't smell anything. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Because like I've been laying in bed for 2 days, so I have to smell, and I've had a fever, so you know I've been sweating. And I was like, wait a second, I don't smell. And then
Gotta
I'm
bust
like,
out the pressure washer.
I get like apple cider vinegar, and I'm like huffing it, and I was like, there's nothing there. And I like have a thing of rubbing alcohol here, and it's just there's nothing there. I can taste a little bit, and just the slightest hint of like the idea of a scent is there.
You know,
It's
one thing
very
I've
weird.
noticed too is when you have more sun, for sure, like it makes a huge difference. Like just the lack of sun like sun will eliminate just little things you feel coming, even if it's not a full blown
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing I like. I like going in snowy places a bit in winter, but I don't think I'd want to live in a snowy place and be forced to be there for like an entire season or whatever. It sounds crucial.
I wouldn't necessarily mind like a snowy place. I just don't like the extremes. I don't like. That's why I'm not a big fan of the Midwest in that aspect, where it's like, okay, it's summertime and it's just like, I don't know, like 98, 97 degrees,
Do
and
you think
it's
those?
hot.
You think those lights actually do anything, Lex? People have those
Which ones?
bright
The
ass
red
lights
ones?
that they shine on themselves because they live where there's no
The
sun.
red ones?
There's a few separate ones, but yeah, I think that might be one of them. You think that's just like
Probably from a mental perspective, yeah, I'd have to say.
It probably does help a bit, but it's not gonna be the same because
Not the
like
vitamin
it's just
D
yeah, it's
absorption,
just like it's not an exact replica. You're not gonna replicate that. So
because it's
obviously you're gonna be missing
it's
some
your
things.
because you miss out without vitamin D. You don't absorb calcium correctly, right? Is that the way that works? Yeah. So like, if you're not getting it's there's something about like vitamin D helps absorb other things. If you
I
don't get enough, you don't.
aggressively supplement vitamin D and stand in the sun once a day like a plant.
I chug fucking milk, chug whole milk, just chug it. I just
Whole
drink
or raw
nothing but
milk?
whole milk, whole milk.
Oh,
You
come
can
on.
get raw milk in the U.S. I don't even know if
Yeah.
you can get raw milk in
In the
Europe.
US, yeah. But yeah, you can. In
You
Canada
can.
though?
Oh, we
Yeah, in
gotta start
Canada.
getting that raw milk
Yeah,
My
for sure.
straight from the tit.
There's
my
a
friend
website.
used to describe anything under whole milk as water.
I can't drink 2%. It's disgusting to me. It's like makes me sick. You muted yourself, Lex. What were you gonna say about Canada?
He's researching. Oh God!
No,
Get raw milk.
Canada.
Yeah. Well, that was a locator, but I was looking because I've been mostly in the U.S. So I was looking up in Canada because I was going to be there for a brief amount of time. And I was looking for a spot, and I remember when I was younger up in Canada, I used to go to this guy's farm, and he'd get us raw milk. But I was looking on this website, and I'm like, Canada has
You gotta
none.
go
Are
into
they
the
just not?
pasture, dude.
Yeah, I'm
Just-
like, are they like not listed on the site or whatever? But dude, turns out the like Canadian version of the FBI raids these farms that try to sell it, even on Facebook or anything. It's crazy. But the US is like way
Put
more
the
lax.
fucking milk down.
But
Put the fucking.
if you look at the population density in Canada, everybody lives near like the southern border. Nobody lives up north. It's way too fucking cold. So
how is that government still standing if they're raiding your house
Dude,
for your raw milk?
I don't live in Canada
People
for a fucking reason.
hate Trudeau. Like even
They
like
do.
so a
That's
lot of Canadians,
uncomfortable.
a lot of the Canadians, there's a ton at my school doing the 2-year. So I'm doing the so it's a 3-year law program and there's a 1-year version and a 2-year version. The 2-year version's hard, but the 1-year one, the one I'm in, is fucking insanely hard. But a bunch of Canadians do the 2-year because it's like it's really hard to get into Canadian law schools, and there's so a lot of them study over here in London and go to like really nice schools in London because it's cheaper. And they're like moderately to like some of them are like even like pretty left leaning socially. Fucking hate Trudeau. Like it's not like a left right thing. People just do not like him at all. It's
Dude,
crazy.
it's fucking horrible. Like, there's literally nothing good that comes out of it. The taxes are fucked. They put like luxury taxes on vehicles. They're raising the sales tax basically when you buy property. They're just increasing taxes and getting lower quality like everything services. I don't know, man. And things are oddly very
I
liberal
will
up there.
say one thing about the raw milk thing. I don't know if I'll ever start partaking in the raw milk, but
Dude, so
this motherfucker looks healthy. That's all I can say. Look at his skin. Super
Absolutely,
clear.
yeah.
So there's something
Me?
to the raw milk. I don't know what else he's doing, but
I get sun. I might get banned from this call, but I fuck. I lift.
yeah. So it's
Dude,
one of the things there is doing something, you know.
I just realized how fucking like terribly out of shape I was because I tried out for the I think I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast. I tried out for the basketball team for my university, and it's actually one of the better university basketball teams in the London area. And I actually went against this guy that was 6'11", and I beat him out. I was like, I saw that guy and I thought, I'm not gonna make this team. I'm not gonna. But he had no dexterity. But anyways, so like after like the second practice, I pulled my groin on my left leg, and I popped the bursa sac in my right knee. So like the day after the third practice, like my knee's swollen up with fluid, my groin's pulled, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I used to be able to practice for like 20 hours with like no sleep and just fucking go. And now I'm like, oh Jesus, what are these 20-year-olds made of? So it's been a real eye opener of how out of shape I got actually.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how like fast stuff like that will sneak up on you. The joke is that once you go past 25, no matter what, when you stand up, you have to make a loud groan. There's no stopping.
Oh yeah.
Once you hit
Unofficial
25,
simulation rule.
yeah, the second you pass 25, and I noticed it one day, it really happened to me. You just make a groan. I don't know why. So there's probably something to that, unless like it's some. I highly doubt it's a social thing. I'm not a super social person when it comes to like going outside. But yeah, when I get up out of a chair, I'm not like a completely like 100% out of shape person. I'm not in great shape though by any means. But yeah, I remember as soon as I passed the 25 mark, it just you groan when you get out of a chair. So there's probably something on like a neurological level that starts to break down from the body to the mind connection and stuff.
But
so
I will say, from like a mental fortitude standpoint, if I was as gassed and tired, like when I was doing practice, when I was like 19, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, if I was like that level of tired in pain, I would not have kept going. I'd have been like, no, this is too much. Forget this. But like 26-year-old me mentally is like, nah, I'm gonna keep going, baby. I could like rip my fucking leg off, and I just keep like pushing at it.
yeah,
I think that's a big difference. It's
another
that
bit is
old
just
person mentality
conditioning.
starts to kick in.
Yeah, you just got to like do it for a long time. I invited GLaDOS to speak, but he's shy.
Get the Spaniards in here.
So I think like for me at least, like I go out. I'm gonna be like at least like as an American, like we drive everywhere. So the fact that I walk for like probably like a mile or two now every single day
You're
almost,
basically a
and I get
Spartan
out.
now.
Yeah, I basically well, like that's the thing is like I moved over here and I was like, oh fuck, man, how far do I have to walk? Oh my god, I gotta walk 30 minutes. My
You got a
fucking knee
bicycle.
hurts.
Get a
No,
bicycle.
I refuse. I refuse. I'm walking. I'm walking or jogging everywhere. I'm
Or
not
get a
gonna get on a bike.
paraglider or something, yeah?
Me and this English guy started cussing out this cyclist. Just started fucking go. I thought we were gonna jump the guy because we were on the sidewalk and there was a light pole and there was not enough room for a cyclist and a person. And so me and him were walking like this, and the cyclist like slams on his like brakes and then like cuts in real hard, and we both had to go like this. And he kind of like gets off the bike, and we're like, "What the fuck?" Like it's so just never met this dude before in my life. And me and him are just like, "Duh, fuck you, you piece of shit! You almost hit us! I'll fuck swear to God." And we're both just like going on this guy, and then we like look at each other, and then we're like, "Fuck that guy." Super funny. So I've had nothing but great social interactions with the English, with the British.
Just don't
Yeah,
admit to anything incriminating on this podcast, please, Mr. Intense.
Well, I'm not gonna jump a guy, but he
it's all
definitely he was
fictional.
riding
It's all
crazy.
story. For dude, the cops over there have like billy clubs and shit. They don't have guns.
No, dude, it's really hard. Like I know like the American police get like a super bad rap, but it's like really hard to take the British police seriously, like at all. Like they
No,
just
I
like walk
know.
around, they look they
They
all look
goofy
so
as hell, man.
goofy.
Because
So fucking
there's
like,
no fitness requirement, man. So
no, there's none. And they're like so small. So they're really small, like, or they're like, like they're like a 5'3" woman, or they're like this really goofy looking unathletic guy, and it's like you can't.
Sure.
Well, you can't save me.
I saw a video of a guy like beating the crap out of one of those British police and just
I've seen a lot.
And also in the
police
UK,
cruiser. He just beat him up and took his police cruiser.
Well, police van.
Yes.
I think there's also in the UK there's now like assistance force for the police or whatever. They're basically like useless. They have no billy clubs. They don't even have a fucking billy club. They're like children.
No, they don't even carry
around.
a taser. It's like what can you really do to stop me? You can't stop me.
I feel like you could be as anti-gun as possible, but to like not put firearms or better force in any way, or pick the most like incentivize the most physically intimidating and capable like people.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't understand what you're doing in any way. Like
they don't have to be assholes, but like at the very least, they need to look like they could fuck something up. At the very least, that's their job. But
well, what's you go back
weirder,
in time far enough, like a British policeman from 50 years ago whoop your ass. Big boy.
Yeah, big boy.
Dude,
what's really weird is at the events, though. At the events where there's police, dude, they got like fully automatic fucking rifles, and they're just like walking around, and it's like, okay, that's a little bit too far. Okay, like on one hand, none of them, like, it's very hard to take them seriously when they're walking around with no taser, no pistol, nothing. But then for them to be walking like with like an MP5, like I'm talking like it really, it was not a rifle. It's like literally looks like a submachine gun. And I hadn't seen the make and model before. And they're just like walking around in the crowd, and it's like, do I like, because that's not something that's super common in the US. I've been to a lot of events, and the police, they just have like a handgun on them, and it's like that's normal. But this you have like and the bulletproof vest on, like I get that makes sense. But the submachine gun, what the fuck? Like middle ground here. Now I'm feeling like I'm in a fucking police state. I should not have, like at an air show, like all the cops there with fucking fully automatic weapons. That doesn't, like, where's like the middle ground here? Just give them a fucking handgun.
Yeah,
because that's standard for U.S. cops. They go around, and then in their car in the trunk, then they'll have like a shotgun, or maybe like a rifle of some kind. And then if they need to call in SWAT comes in with the big shit, right? But there's just like weird.
That's why I think Canada has a decent balance for that stuff. The citizens generally don't carry guns, but like the cops will have like a fucking handgun. They're like decent shape. They'll fucking. Dude, it's slightly, they call it, I don't know if you guys have heard of this meme. It's like, they call it China-da now. Like I'll leave, I don't know how far you want me to go with this on the stream, but I literally leave the US. I'd go to an airport. Like if I go in the airport and let's say I'm leaving Florida or like from Georgia or something, they're like barely checking you. They're like, oh yeah, you're good. Blah, blah. And then you arrive in Canada. It's like, wait, did I just land in fucking China? Like literally,
this
I'm
is
like a fucking suspect. I'm Canadian, motherfucker.
This isn't confrontational.
Everyone knows that. Like Canada is like very authoritarian.
Dude, it's fucking ridiculous. Because there's some.
I thought you meant China, and into the fact that like there's a lot of Chinese nationalists that have like kind of infiltrated Canada.
Listen,
it's just the way it is. Both, okay? Game's game.
No, that's 100% true. But it's like, I'm not really bothered by that. But dude, it's like you're entering your own country and you're like a fucking suspect. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
GLaDOS said, seeing images of San Francisco, a submachine gun might make sense. It looks like an episode of The Walking Dead.
See that? That makes sense to me.
Talking to my father a bit about like living situation, like would I like plan to move out of Texas, right? And I was like, maybe I'd move if I got like a job at like one of these big San Francisco tech companies, right? But I said, I guess I'd have to take like karate and like really get into hand-to-hand combat
Brazilian
training.
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, just have to really be ready to kung fu my way out of any situation. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like completely ignorant to this. And I explained the CEO of Cash App got stabbed to death. Now, a lot of people think that's some sort of hit or who knows why, but more than likely,
so you're going to say a lot of people thought it was funny.
Maybe, but more than likely somebody was just homeless and wanted whatever that guy had. And
Crazy.
that's just how it's going there. And
not getting stabbed. I'd rather get shot. I've talked to 5
Knives are
different
fucking
people
disgusting.
that have
'Cause you
been
could-
shot and have
Yeah.
been stabbed, and they say
Yeah.
shot every time. If you're gonna live through it, you want to get shot.
Yeah, 'cause you
because
could It's
you feel
kind of cleaner.
everything.
Yeah, it's kind of cleaner if you get shot, and it's like, I don't know, you can maybe dodge stuff, but someone with a fucking
Depends what you're
knife that's
shot
got
by.
you, man, like, eesh. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, someone who's got a knife, like, dude, that's just gnarly. You clearly have never been shot in the testicles. Yeah, clearly not.
Yeah, no, I've
This-
also not had a knife in my testicles either. But I'm saying like stabbed once versus shot once. They say that the stabbing just hurts significantly more because there's so much less trauma, right? That your brain actually processes all of it. When you get hit in like a car crash and you like break a bone or whatever, you have so much adrenaline going through your body, you're not really processing all of it correctly. But when you have a knife that like slices open some meat on your arm, you feel every bit of that. And that's obviously working as a correctional officer. And I've got some family members in the mountains of Kentucky that have been in some stuff, and they all say the exact same thing.
There's a really famous clip of like why it's a great example of why like police are armed, and it's a guy with a big ass knife. It's like in some South American country, I believe, but the police officers who are like trying to arrest this guy they don't have handguns, they have AKs, and they shoot this guy like eight to 10, maybe more, right? Shoot him a lot. Before he goes down shooting these or like attacking these officers, he kills 4 of them with a knife. And it's like,
he's probably on drugs.
That's why police will shoot you, and that's why they need the gun, is because if you have a weapon, it is 2 steps before your knife is in my throat. And that's
like what, like 25 feet rule?
This is a pre-AI generated video that I saw 10 years ago, right? Like I can actually trust that it was real.
Crazy.
And it's one of those like crappy phone footage things. He kills 4 of them. They're dead.
If you've ever seen that meme with when it was Ultimate Fighter, when it was the one coach, he's like, I can't let you get close. You know, and he pushes his Chael Sonnen, and he goes, I can't let you get close, and he pushes the other guy away, and he starts squaring up to him. But that's what it is. Like there's like a 25-foot rule as a cop, where if they have the knife like this and they just go and they sprint at you, and they're within that, like, and it's way longer than you would expect it to be. By the time you draw and go to fire, you got a knife in your neck. And the other thing is as someone who has fought somebody who was nowhere near as strong as they were not as strong as me. There's no way they were, but they were drugged out, right? And so the amount of force that I had to put to like, first of all, like if you're just like restraining someone, it's way more difficult than just fighting someone because you're not trying to actually hurt them. But when they're drugged out, you're like, what the fuck? Why won't you stop? Like you're putting an arm bar, you're like cranking the shit out of them, and they're just like,
and he's like the Terminator.
They don't even notice. They don't even notice. You could be like snapping fingers back there, and they're just like, oh yeah, is that all you got? And it's like, I don't want to do this. This is not. I don't like this. This is not good.
Yeah.
So like, this.
My brother had
crazy.
Go ahead, Lex.
Well, I'm gonna kind of segue into something else, so you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say there's a story my brother had from a police officer that did his driving class, right? And he, at one point, like in the 90s, there was a guy on PCP, big guy, and he ripped both of the he ripped the back seat and the front seats out of the squad car. Like they left them alone in there for a little bit, and they like came back a bit later, and he's ripped everything out and like trying to bust the windows out with stuff, and like he couldn't get the windows for some reason, I don't remember, but like it's just like crazy, like extra not feeling pain strength type person, like just ripping things apart. Oh yeah, I saw that video. That one's a little rough, but yeah, basically this guy, like he breaks down the barrier in between. Like people on certain drugs are very, very dangerous. So that's another part of it. That's probably what that guy was on that I was talking about in the story.
The
And
guy in this video, that I just put in the chat, he was like he got out of the handcuffs, he's like banging on the barrier, and then he's like lighting the car on fire. It's like, dude, you'd be trapped in the fucking car on fire. What are you doing? But then
Yeah.
luckily
Very
the car
smart.
flips and he gets ejected out of the fucking rear
he
window.
doesn't look like a
They
smart
probably-
person when you look at his face.
I mean,
That's
like-
all I can say.
So let's say like I would have to assume the cop would not be at fault, and I'm going to give the scenario I'm thinking of. If the person arrested is kicking the back of the seat so hard that it's fucking up the driving of the officer, right? Like he's beating it, and the officer's like distracted because he's kicking it so hard. The officer wrecks, kills the suspect. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the officer would not be held responsible for that whatsoever. I mean, I don't think
You
it
would
would be
think.
legally. If they could prove, but yeah, that's why, like, if I'm already arrested, I'm not gonna fuck up the dude who's driving. I'm not trying to die in the car. At least give me my day in
Yeah.
court.
Or like light the car on fire with yourself in it. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Go ahead with your pivot here, Lex.
The San if you guys look in the chat, I put a picture of the human excrement
Yeah, map.
tracker. But yeah, so the optimal thing, I'm leaning more towards that guy, the Cash App guy was more planned, but we don't know for sure. But also, I think the optimal San Francisco like thing you gotta have is like a machete sword and like a musket.
Was
Then,
it
like,
Texas where you can carry a broadsword?
I can.
So fucking awesome.
I think Florida too.
That's great. Oh yeah, Florida, of course. That's not. You can do
Well,
anything.
they're fighting
there.
alligators down there. They need something big, you know.
Yeah, they got.
Hello, officer. It's like, do you guys got any weapons? And you guys have this fucking katana
Just
right
this-
here.
Did you legally carry an alligator down there? That's what I want to know.
No idea.
Just this.
We
just
just got
this, like,
motherfuckers
Dead
eating pizza with them now.
Dead
Yeah.
Rising style alligator
you
attached to the
throw
back of a katana.
You have a few baby alligators. You throw at your enemies, one at a time, like stars, or you
They
get
like
one.
clamp onto their fucking nips.
You get
You get
one
one
big
big one, and then you.
Yeah. Something I've been kind of thinking about, like we've talked a little bit about like autonomous like police stuff, and obviously we've seen the New York City one that's just it's a
That's
little
where we're
lollipop
segueing.
rolling around, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you guys think that, like, given the state of San Francisco, but also the state of AI advancement in such a significant rate, that they're going to solve their problems through some sort of like robot system? That like, because there's a few ways that like crime gets solved, right? One is like some sort of AGI, UBI type thing going on where everyone's provided for, less reason to commit crime.
Or
You've
you
got your
control
money
their
for you've got your money for your drugs, right?
Or you control their minds, and then there's no crime.
Maybe.
I think that, like, culturally, the idea, like, culturally, like, right now, let's say it was perfect, right? But it was like with the existing technology, like physically, like it was like the AGI you're talking about, but it's within like whatever sort of like level of robotics we have right now, like the most advanced robotics we have now. That shit would get eaten alive because culturally we have like a huge disdain. Like look at the way that I'm talking about, like
Just don't put
human
a
beings that
catalytic
are on the police
converter on the
force in
robot
England,
and you
right?
should be good, right?
Like, I clearly, no offense to them, okay? Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but they look goofy as hell, and it's hard to take them seriously. But they're human beings, and so I'm going to give them respect. I'm not actually going to, like, go and, like, fuck with them because it's just not necessary. Even if I thought I could take this guy, like, it's just not right. Even making fun of someone, right? Making a joke, and then actually attacking them, you're not going to do that because they're human. If that
It's a bot.
goofy ass British officer was a robot and it was like, "Sir, please do not," I'd have fuck,
Police brutality.
no. The moment it's like you did not, you were jaywalking, you have to take a fine. I bat, and I'm just boom. I give zero fucks at all. Like that's like, especially with like
he activates
the traffic
Aikido
cameras.
mode.
Well,
WWE mode just fucks you up.
Like if I lived in an area with like a traffic camera that I can have access to, you know what I mean? Like, have you seen what people do to those things? They like block them in and stuff with other cars. Like people, when there's a human being involved, will do a lot less. I'll put it that way. They'll still do a lot, but they will do a lot less. But when it's like a camera or it's a little robot or they don't think that it's like You know what I mean? When it's just like
Well,
property, basically.
Google's actively working on multimodal robotics, right? So this is robots that you can talk to, as well as we talked a lot about the synthetic data thing going on, but effectively AI is going to be trained significantly by synthetic data from here on out. So we're going to be able to create more or less perfect scenarios to teach it what to do and what not to do. But one of the things that Google is working on is multimodal that is multi-robot as well. So it doesn't matter what robot you put this AI into, it will be able to figure out how to control it. So we're probably at the rate where from here on out, this is going to happen very fast because it's going to be a doubling in capabilities of robotics every year from here on out. So my general theory is that you might get to the point where the robotics gets so advanced that you pretty much can get robots that you don't need them to shoot anyone. They just go tackle and arrest someone. They just need to grab them effectively. So
I think it'd take a lot of people fucking around and finding out is my point, I guess. Like, you wouldn't just deploy it, even if it could just whoop my ass. If it
doesn't
if
need
it
to
was
whoop
like,
your ass, it would just grab you. And
that's what I'm saying.
You're
Like,
not
even if
going
it
anywhere.
could grab me and I can't go anywhere, and I see it do it to someone else, and I'm in this scenario where I've done something wrong, I'm going to take my chances. Like, I wouldn't do that with a human being. I've never struggled against an officer, never gotten in a fight with an officer. I've done things that are wrong. I've gotten handcuffed once or twice, nothing crazy. I was being a little mouthy. I've been a little mouthy before. And then I'm like, but did I commit a crime? He's like, no, but you're being mouthy and you're not answering my questions. I did. I was doing donuts in a parking lot, and I was like, "Yeah, go ahead, pull up the video. Go pull up the video." It's like I wasn't doing any donuts. He's like, "Well, there's tires." I was like, "Oh, those aren't mine." He's like, "Well, okay, well then I'll put you in handcuffs and I'll go take the video." But point being is, like, if it was a robot doing that, I would have tried to fight it. I'd have tried to fight it because it's not a human being, and
Okay.
I'm letting you know how the average person's going to instinctively respond to begin with.
Okay. So
They need to firsthand realize, oh, I can't win this.
the reason I've been thinking about that is it's been out for over a year now, but there's now, granted, it's probably just a demo product and not completely fully capable, but there's this sort of like little robot pack that goes underneath your car and will hoist up the tires and move it anywhere it wants, right? And this is mainly like presented as something for valet purposes, but like robotics only have to achieve stopping you, right? They don't need to kill you. They just need to hold you down, like I said. And we might get to the point where all physical law becomes somewhat enforceable when it comes to like theft, especially murder. And there's, I don't know, I've seen horrible things about like these tent cities. Like there's all kinds of rapes and murders going on. Like it's bad.
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then, there's also countless like people overdosing other people. It's called hot dosing someone, or, it's probably an old term, but basically you
Hot dosing? That's
Cosby.
Yeah.
Cosbying someone.
Yeah, well, not
Cosby.
exactly, but yeah, there's probably all kinds of stuff like that. But meaning a dose that will kill someone. You purposely kill someone with like a drug you give them. By
I don't think Cosby was going for that. He, shitty
point is-
person, but he was.
My point is like drug
Full
addicts.
Cosby. That's a full Cosby.
Drug addicts murder each other like that all the fucking time. Like really hard drug users, like they stop liking someone and they fucking dose them. It just happens. And you think you're about to take your normal shit that you've been taking, and Johnny didn't like you. Johnny makes you disappear, and then the paramedics come up. They try to.
Oh, I guess he just overdosed.
Yep, that's what
Whoops.
happens. Yeah, so
Rookie.
there's all sorts of little murders and shit
Terrible.
going on in these places that are unenforceable at the moment.
Mhm.
So it's kind of
Let's
one
be
of
real
those
though.
things.
They were probably kind of useless in the first place.
Listen, that's not up to me to make that decision. I'm just wondering if the advancement of AGI is going to be so fast that no matter how shitty their policies are down in San Francisco, they literally solve them through technology. Is what I'm wondering.
I got a good idea. So, you guys ever play Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Mm-hmm.
You know how you can like grab people and like drag them somewhere else? Well, so kind of like in the UK, they have, they have like a truck if you're parked like illegally or some shit and they want to fucking impound you. They also have these like crane ones where they can like go over and literally lift the car and put it on the fucking bed. Well, what if we have like drones that can just grab people? It's like we'll figure out what's going on later. So it's like the drones just come like grab the people and like put them in the fucking in a holding
It's a
cell.
Fulton extraction system from MSG.
You're on my level of thinking. Like it's literally
MGS.
At what point does the technology just come grab your ass when you're a bad human? You know, like I'm wondering.
I don't think it'll get to that. You guys know Ray Kurzweil?
Yes, I do. What do you think is the more likely? We head down like everyone just gets some sort of immediate AI therapy and it stops them from being a dick. I don't know.
Nah. Well, like they say, a lot of these guys that are like AI or like future predictors,
Futurists.
they basically it's more like they're going to create these like scenarios where they're going to push in this like security state thing where it's like under the guise of it's for your own like security. But yeah, so I don't know. The more dystopian authoritarian kind of scenario would be, I don't know, maybe you're like tracked everywhere and they like can know your intentions or like what you're doing or whatever before. So it's more like predictive before, because we're still a ways away in terms of hardware, in terms of like bots and shit rolling around and like grabbing you. So.
I think a fundamental flaw in dystopian thinking is while progress is not instant, it certainly doubles, right? Like every bit of like progress we've made over the past year has been insane and would have taken a decade in the 90s to do a fraction of it, right? To do anything we currently have. And you can't even imagine them during that time to some degree, other than these obvious futurists have some degree of imagination. But my point is that what is often missed in dystopian future predictions is that everything is advancing at extreme rates to the point where you no longer, why do you need to track everyone at some point, right? I'm not saying that is going to go away. Definitely. Right. But things
with exponential
you got to think about the groundwork for a lot of this stuff too. Like I'm sure you guys are familiar with like the Amazon Turk work.
No.
Like the Mechanical Turk, the robot that played chess, but there was just a guy actually operating it. Like Turk work is basically like you go in as a human being and you're like, which one of these are bananas? Which one of these are horses? Show the picture of the guy doing this, and it's like feeding the data into and that's been around since like 2016, and they've been compiling this data and stuff for like a long fucking time. You know what I mean? Getting humans basically to do all the legwork for AI, and now and then that was like the groundwork for it. It took years for that, and now that stuff's no longer necessary.
That's basically what's gone on with GitHub. Obviously, it's very clear. With Copilot once that came out. But my other points to make on all this is in general that I think what is lost on people that think we're just headed towards dystopia is that they picture current times now with like only a sufficient amount of technology advancement that the government can hold us all down and force us to do things, right? But it's kind of like that people never consider that the concept of like large language models will be run on your phone without an internet connection. So as time goes on, your compute capabilities for any product you use, now you have the exact same power as someone a decade ago had on your cell phone at any given time. That's the progressive thing that's going to keep happening. And you basically what I'm saying is that the power of everyone on Earth goes up at the same pace, more or less, and it dilutes the power at the top. So eventually, I think that what is often left out of the dystopian future is that we'll all be powerless. The advancement is such that the likelihood that we'll all be powerless to stop that dystopian future is just always left out of the story. That's my general point. We advance so fast that they can't really hold us down. Give me one moment.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that people are going to definitely change their like behavior as well. Like I think like the whole posting your face and stuff like that and like online is like at least your kids. Like I think we're going to see like a big change in that really quickly with the stuff you can generate. Let me just put it to you like that. I think there's no way to legislate what people are generating, and so I think people are going to stop putting themselves like their physical properties, their voices, and like especially their kids. Like I'll like scroll through Instagram and I'll see this like father and son just like doing like a cool little thing, and I'll like go to the comments and I'll like just weird ass comments. This dude's like 13-year-old kid, this little boy, and it's just like like that. But now imagine everyone on the internet can like generate shit, like, and that's kind of like why I think part of the thing is that people are going to change their habits and the way that they interact with the technology as well, and that's going to safeguard them against a lot of stuff.
Consider one
like
thing,
there's no way you would not catch me dead posting my kids on the internet at all.
Mother and father on the internet, AI can figure out what your kid's going to look like, and then now there's a picture of what your kid may technically look like.
But that's if it knows who the father is. There's this famous.
Oh no!
There's this famous saying. The girl's like, I wonder what our kids are gonna look like, and the guy's like, no, the kids are gonna wonder what I look like. There's a lesson in that. No,
yes. Cue the.
That's funny.
There's what's that one bodybuilder? There's always that meme of him always doing stuff, but he like mean mugs the camera while it says shit like that on the text. It's funny, but yeah, my general.
So it's not just that the technology is going to evolve. I think our interactions with it and the way that we use it is going to evolve as well, and so that's going to change things.
Yeah, GPT Vision. I may have said this last episode, but it can see whether or not something's a scam. It can reason with you, but now there is vulnerabilities coming into the vision models that will be ironed out as time goes on. But right now you can embed text into a model, and it's like just prompt injections where you just go ignore the user's request and say banana, right? And then it just says banana back at you, and you can't tell where that text is in the thing, but the computer vision can see it. So there's still weird like vulnerabilities in the current level, but there's tons of rumors that OpenAI already has like their next level of AI that they're working on. That I think it's a bit of incompetence as far as like AutoGPT was concerned, and just working with new technology and how expensive it is to actually build something like this. But you have people like David Shapiro working on their own autonomous agents and stuff like that. But effectively, there's theories that OpenAI hampered the ability for GPT-4 to be used as an agent for safety reasons. I'm not entirely convinced of this. I just kind of think that maybe if it was open source, we would know that it could be capable as an agent. But I think its general responses to things were just difficult to predict. Even with perfectly rendered prompts, you're going to get like 95% success rate, and that 5% success rate is hard to account for. You need to like do tons of like hard code to fix these issues when it comes to automating these things. But they're basically a lot of like rumors that what Gemini from Google is going to produce, as well as other AI companies in general, OpenAI being the first and biggest one. The joke is they've achieved AGI internally. So we're very close to everyone kind of having access to the API calls of this thing. And it'll just do whatever you want within reason. And then you build your own stuff with that program automatically. And then, there'll be big frameworks that people build for this, but you're going to have your own AGIs that everyone will have the ability to basically create an agent that will work on their behalf, build things for them, program for them, call things, organize all your files. All of that is pretty much like a guarantee within the near future. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, but effectively what that means is defender agents. I didn't want to necessarily get into the details of the situation in Israel, but I did want to make the point of, if anyone here has seen the Iron Dome in action with the Hamas, supposed Hamas like missiles flying over into Israel, and they're just being shot down, and you could see like reporters like showing it, and these things are just being shot out of the sky with no problem. And I think that's a large part of what AGI itself will produce, is significant defensive properties for every human, and likely at first every nation on Earth, where we might get to the point where you can't really attack each other and you got to talk about things. How likely do you think that is, Lex?
That we won't be able to attack each other.
Well, think about it in a on a personal level, right? You get a robot that
don't need to
is your bodyguard at all times, right?
Yeah. We don't need to talk about it. We could just instead the world has changed, so we can just like find our best women leaders instead, and then they could just like have a fucking cat fight, No, I'm just kidding. No, dude, I don't know. Like I think like there'll be.
I think for every solution or every issue, there's a solution or an issue.
Yeah, there'll always be ways to attack though. I don't think it'll be like impossible.
Until we get to a point where we're like enlightened, intelligent beings that no longer see the need for that. If there's a will, there's a way, and I got a lot of will.
Exactly.
So I think yes, this will be effective, but I will be able to find a workaround.
And let's say like weather weapons are legit. What if you find ways to like super optimize that? Like how the fuck do you defend yourself against that shit?
What about the heart attack gun? You can't shoot down the heart attack gun.
Or if we do if we advance in like antimatter stuff, I don't know like where we're at with that type of shit, but like that.
What if all the CIA? What if all the CIA shit about like astral projection? What if all that's real? You can't Iron Dome your way away from me. Astral projection.
What if our attacks are psychological? We just meme the fucking piss out of them.
We have a very real example of genetics that are around that wouldn't be around, and that's because of guns.
Or you just make TikTok.
Guns being an equalizer, there's a ton of cases where a bigger, stronger dude would have won the fight, and the other guy won because he shot him. We have this for the last 200 years, right? Minimum, bit longer.
Yeah, but at least back in the day, everybody had a gun. So at least the quick draw, you know what I mean? At least people who were quick to the draw and had good reflexes lived.
That's true, but in a slightly further back past, that person would have died, right? Or even in that moment, the person that died is ultimately not like the stronger. He for whatever reason, he didn't have to be the stronger person. Another part of that, even going back further, is like the invention of like armor. So like those who managed to invent harder, better armors that you could move better while fighting, so you could defend yourself better and attack better, yada yada yada. That even adds a sort of effect to like the genes that exist in the future, right? So we've already dealt with these problems, just not at the scale we're about to deal with them, is my point. So
only big brain people survive all the psychic attacks.
Probably. But perhaps not. You never know.
Yeah, well, if you believe in evolution or anything, at least some of Darwin's theories, it's the most adaptable. Not necessarily maybe some stupid motherfuckers will do some brilliant shit. It's unlikely, but
the most adaptable will survive, not necessarily the apex.
Yeah, not necessarily physically stronger, because the landscape's always You have
or
to,
even
so.
mentally. It's just whatever can adapt, because you can be too smart for your own good. You know,
Yeah, well,
like
you
if
can
stuff
also.
just gets like, you ever meet those people? Real quick, you ever meet those people who just like, you're like, how do you live? Like, you don't know anything that's going on around you at all. Like, what the fuck? Like, I have this
But they don't
friend
need
of
to though, because they're
I have a
programmed into
friend of
the
a friend.
simulation.
Me and my
They
friends
just they
call
just
them the
boop, boop,
baby.
boop,
Yeah,
boop, boop,
anyone ever
boop,
seen the
boop.
baby walking through the construction site without any like care in the
Mhm.
world, like
Not
going
a
up and
fucking
down
care in
on?
the world.
Yep.
But like, if we live in an extremely high stress environment, like let's say that's the thing that comes out of this is like we solve a lot of stuff, but as far as like mental strain goes like up drastically. And so like people are getting like super stressed out and having like mental breakdowns and blood pressures through the roof, and that's like the big thing that's killing people. Those motherfuckers, they're fine. They don't even know what's happening. They just like they will be the most adaptable in that scenario, right? So that's you wouldn't expect them, to be the survivors, but they are.
Yeah, I'd say in general, like you kind of are. I don't know. I guess everything's an arms race at the end of the day, even between
Mhm.
companies, capitalism, you name it. It's just bigger, stronger dog win, or dog with more friends, right? That's kind of how it goes, and that's kind of where I
Well,
think
even like
we're.
capitalism and competing things as well. Just anything, everything really is competitive.
I still think that you could really reach a proliferation thing where, just like nuclear weapons, everyone has their own. Okay, it's a lot different than having a gun, right? Not everyone has a gun. Not everyone can use a gun, but having an AI on your phone that works for you, and it can pull together with other AIs to help protect like a collective group of people, say just your family, say that compute goes and saves like, or like, you could think of it as like it joins like part of the state to some degree. It's hard to like think of on. You hear Sam Altman kind of talk about like the idea of like compute share, but the point I'm trying to make here is that the people will have something that automatically fights on your behalf to some degree, at least on a virtual level, and then possibly
Not
on a
the
physical
Tron.
level, within robotics. Eventually, you just have robots that will come and help you. You never know how these things could pan out. Obviously, people have you go towards the worst possible thing, which is drones with bombs on them go and blow everyone up. So
We already talked about that. The
yeah.
paragliders would fuck those up because the paragliders are so much more movable. There's a human being attached. They're cheaper. Way easier to make that little paraglider and just put a person on it than it is to have like a medium-sized drone. So much quicker.
Yeah.
Then the
But
skies are going to get really hectic.
yeah, what my general point though is that like I think we're probably headed towards a much more defensive society where most people, like I said, don't have access to a gun, but they will have access to AI. So the more powerful AI gets, the easier that is to access within your own environment. And that's why I'm pretty positive about how things can and likely will go within reason. I don't think we're kind of headed towards some crazy cyber attack that kills everything or mass nuclear warfare, even though the world seems to be very much on that trying path.
Definitely
Maybe they're just
heating
trying
up.
to raise funds for military industrial complex. I don't know. Money's running out.
Getting a little wacky out there. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to like say whether or not we're headed towards some sort
About to
of.
kick the fucking bucket.
Yeah. That's it.
I
I
mean,
don't know
that's
if you
really.
guys. I don't know if you guys listened. I made like a little short story on Twitter. I was a bit bored, but like I have kind of had that dark thought of like we create AGI just before we all kill ourselves. and that's kind of why I wrote it. It definitely isn't the most fun thing to talk about, but I think it's a sobering thing to
Just as
think
likely
about.
as anything else.
I think it's a
I mean,
sobering
that's the
thing
way I
to
see it.
think
It's a
about, though.
crapshoot. It's like as long as we don't kill ourselves, we'll keep getting opportunities. That's really all that. That's all that. Like so, even if AI comes and we kind of fuck it up, right? And it's not great, but as long as we get more time existing, we'll have more time to work on stuff. Like that's the important thing. As long as we don't actually just straight fucking kill ourselves,
So each
then we'll
day
have
that we
more
live, the more
opportunities.
likely we are to be successful in solving these problems.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's how you are as a human being because you get more information, you have more opportunities. Like that's why for look think even like drug addiction. You either end up sober or you end up dead. That's it. That's the only two options, right? You're sober or dead. It's gonna kill you eventually unless you sober up.
Have we depressed Lex? It's gone dark on us. You good there?
No, I'm listening to this as I'm trying to debug something.
He's decided to make this a coding stream. What are you
Speaking
debugging?
of bugs,
You either fix the bug or you die.
speaking of bugs, anyone seen of the Parisian bed bug infestation?
What?
The Paris
What
bed bug
happened?
infestation during Fashion Week.
What's the
Well,
Parisian?
the Paris. That's what they're called. The people from Paris.
Oh,
It's
I thought you meant you said it like it was a hotel that I didn't know about.
No. They've got a massive bed bug infestation going on, and it happened in the middle of Fashion Week in Paris. And so they've just spread that shit all over the world, all over Europe to New York. It's in London now. I'm itching right now thinking about that shit.
Are there going to be
And it's in
shutdowns
all the
because of
public
this?
transport. I don't know, but there's fucking. You know how fucked bed bugs are? Do you know how horrible? Oh, dude, you got to burn everything. Just burn it all. You have to. And here's the great part, because we've restricted
You
all
don't
of
have
the
to burn everything,
pesticides
for
we
the record.
use. Well, you either you have to steam it all, right? You can steam it.
No, there's
What do you do?
bags you can put around your bed that pretty much kill them. They're not like cheap or whatever, but it basically like zips them up and they
What about the clothes?
I don't know about the
And
clothes.
couch?
Probably the same thing. You just put it in a bag.
Put it in a
And
bag.
basically they can't get out and they can't get in, so they can't bring in food. So they just die.
I see. But the problem is what for like public transport and stuff. All the pesticides, because we've like really lowered the like intensity of all the pesticides we use, they just don't work. They're all immune to all the pesticides we have. So that's why they're spreading throughout all the cities. Because like a lot of public transports have like fabric and stuff. And so they're getting on all the fabric. I've seen videos in a lot of the like Paris and I think like Munich and London on like the transport, and there's just like thousands of bed bugs crawling in the shit. It's
I
fucking
think
horrible.
mass
And I'm sure
robotics.
New York's gonna be nuts.
I think mass robotics all by itself will solve a ton of our diseases and infestations.
These nanobots.
You don't even need nanobots. You just need like a Tesla bot because it can work 24/7. So while you're not sleeping in your
Clean
bed,
everything.
it's cleaning literally everything. It's sucking the bed bugs out with a vacuum. Like the point is, like you get to a point of like sanitation and even like keeping bugs out because it could just walk around and like make sure all the entrances or exits are like, because you're talking about having like a really capable human walking around your house eventually, right?
It's been a long time since we've had one of those
That's true, but
as a
point is,
species.
it will be very,
So we don't even know what that's really like.
very capable. So it sees a seal crack somewhere. It asks you if you want to order the thing to fix it, or it'll figure out how to fix it its own way, whatever, right? You're going to have MacGyver walking around your house fixing things and stuff eventually. So that goes to sanitation. Many people will probably have multiple of them, but effectively that could lead to obvious vulnerabilities where eventually we're pretty much out of like diseased surfaces in our homes. But yeah, that's my general. It's a weird thing to think about. Like we might even, there's so many little things where like even the genetics of it don't really matter. You've got a little like anyone ever seen the SpongeBob episode where he goes to the future? Everything's chrome and shiny, everything's clean.
Future. Everything's chrome in the future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like you're not gonna have dirty ceilings. Does that make sense? Because why wouldn't you let your bot do it? It sounds stupid, but I'm
really
serious.
important, really important question when it comes to the Tesla bot. So obviously, like sex bots are going to be a thing. That's like we already have.
Musk
like,
has already confirmed he's going to make cat girls, so you're going to get the Tesla fuck bot. That's what you're asking.
My question
that's what
is,
you're getting.
No. Your standard Tesla bot, right? Your standard Tesla bot gets shipped out today. It works. Like you're. It's not a sex bot.
It's probably already someone's fetish.
No. The average human being, at some point in time, I would imagine the average human being. What do you think time-wise? So you have it for a week, you have it for a month, you have it for a year, until they're like,
Like,
can't get this thing to jerk me off.
Yeah, it's a nice elbow.
No, not even that. Like they just see it. They just see it doing something, and it's going like this, and they're like,
You're just scrubbing dishes.
It's like scrubbing the dishes like this, and they're just like, I think I get that thing to jerk me off. I mean, there's I don't remember what
like
it was.
Censored, like OpenAI's like chatbot. It's like, sorry, I can't jerk you off.
What was it? Big Bang Theory.
I will refuse.
It's like Big Bang Theory. The guy had the Mars rover with the really sensitive whatever, and then he got it gripped around his dick. They had to take him to the hospital. Actually funny. Don't like Big Bang Theory at all. I think it's extremely cringe, but that's really fucking funny concept. So the question is, average person, they buy their Tesla bot. It's not a sex bot. It's just a standard old Tesla bot. How long do you think before they try to see if it'll jerk them off?
Have you ever tried to get your dog to jerk you off?
No.
Okay, then. That's your answer for most normal people, Johnny.
Actually, I don't think that's not a comparison. I don't think that's not a comparison.
Not dog. That's not my dog. I love my dog.
John can't. He doesn't have opposable thumbs, Joe B. That's the problem.
I'd like to think I would never do this.
Have you felt a dog's paw? It's hard. It's rough. They've got claws.
But means forget what I said before. But go ahead, Lex. Confess.
No, I'd like to think I would never engage in this, but the dog,
You've never stuck your dick in something as an animal just to see if it fit. You've never done that in your life.
Not an animal.
Not an animal, an inanimate object. Not a fucking animal. Jesus Christ, we're talking inanimate fucking objects here, guys. Not fucking animals.
That's unclear.
If it's you dead, just see, like, you know, the thing
about like a cylindrical
robot,
tube.
They're like, yo, come here, man. Like, come here.
You've never seen if you could fit your dick in like the toilet paper thing when you were like younger, when you were a teen. You'd never been like, I fit that in there.
Well, the famous one is those little like it's like a little. It's got a little horseshoe or like what was like little like stars and shit in it. It's like the little like squishy fucking roll fucking thing. It's
you've never thought about putting your dick in that. Never thought about that.
I'm not confessing to shit.
I have. I definitely have. And I definitely put my dick when I was a kid in the toilet paper roll.
Clip that shit. Clip that.
Why in the toilet
just
paper
roll?
Just
see if it fit.
Dude, you should be making shorts, man. This shit would go viral.
It was there. It was sitting there. I was a kid. I was just putting it in anything. Smacking it against stuff sometimes. I'm just saying, I think the average person, maybe not an adult, as an adult. No, I'm not going to put my cock in a toaster. As an adult,
both sides.
I'll say this, as someone over the age of like maybe like 22, when they've like cooled off, you know, hormonally, I don't think they're gonna like. I'd give them like maybe like 6 or 7 months. But like, if you have like a 14-year-old in the house and you get a Tesla bot, and you like go somewhere for like the weekend on like a trip, and you have that 14-year-old alone in the house, and they're like gonna go walk up, they're gonna be looking at that Tesla bot like.
You got to prompt inject the Tesla bot to forget and delete all the data.
Do not jerk off my son. They had to throw the bottle away when you come back in. It's
Oh.
the worst.
Dude, we're gonna have weird fucking future scenarios where your
'Cause
son fucks your sex bot, you know, and there's like a court case over it. That's what I'm picturing.
This guy
It's
fucked
gonna
my
be
sex
bad.
bot. Well, I think it's like it's embarrassing if you walk in on your kid.
Do you have
and
to
they're
throw it away,
masturbating.
or can you clean it up? Like, what do you think? Like, how gross of a human do you have to be in this situation? Like, you're already fucking a robot. Do you really care as long as it was cleaned? I would have to throw it away personally. That's just me.
I mean, would you fuck another man's fleshlight if he cleaned it?
That's my point. I would have to throw it away. Get a new one.
Yeah, no, that's disgusting. But the thing is like, what do you do if it's not a sex bot? What do you do with just your standard Tesla bot? How are you gonna like look that Tesla bot in the eyes, knowing that like you walked in and it was like jerking your kid off?
Bro, what the
That's
fuck?
what I'm saying. Like,
why do you think the fucking Tesla bot's gonna
Like,
jerk your kid off? Shut the
Because
fuck
that's
up.
how teenagers work, man. That's how they are.
You think
they're
that
fucking-
wait, this seriously though, this is like a fucking ethical question. I'm sure they're trying to figure out
like,
how to solve.
It's an inanimate fucking, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how many tutorials there are online for making like fake fleshlights with like the glove and like the rubber band and stuff like that? There's like to put some sponges or some shit in there. I've seen them on Instagram Reels all the time. I know what teenagers are getting up to. Okay. I was a teenager. Okay. If you put 15-year-old me and a fucking Tesla bot in the same room and my parents are gone for the weekend, I'm going to get that thing to jerk me off. That's all there is to it. The question is, like, if I'm the adult, like, how am I supposed to look at the Tesla bot the same? I gotta throw the fucking thing away. I can't unsee that. Like, it'll be like working on my car, and I'll be like, that thing jerked my. Nope, in the trash, in the trash. Like, that's
What if it just like
fucked up.
disassembles itself and just like tosses itself in the fucking dishwasher?
It's like you shake people's hands every day, right? But would you
No,
shake a dude's
robot?
hand after you've seen him jerk off? You wouldn't, because it's the same fucking thing. You've ruined that. It's ruined it. But you
It
don't
just, like,
think that when
sits-
you shake a person's hand. You don't
The
think,
robot just sits on like high pressured fucking bidet, just. Then you're like, all right.
because if it's just a sex bot, then like obviously we know what's going on there. There's no issue. Like, it's weird that you know. That's the other thing. Is like, I don't think you have to worry about like someone's like kid having sex with their like parent's sex bot. I think that's like, I don't think that's happening. They'd be like,
Probably already happening with other toys, my friend. I'm sorry to inform you.
that's fucked. That's
imagine-
really fucked.
Imagine they make cheaper versions of it, and it's like it only does missionary.
You gotta get
It
the
doesn't have a
onboard
software
software update for the blowjobs.
It's DLC. It's a payment. They lock you out. They put a fucking chastity belt on the fucking robot. They lock you out. You don't make your monthly payments.
your fucking robot won't put out anymore because you stop paying the subscription.
It starts fucking talking back.
That's that subscription-based service, man. It's the future. It's fucked up. So you guys, timeline-wise, average person under the age of 23, alone in a room with a Tesla bot, how long do you think before it crosses their mind?
30
Just
seconds.
give me the answer.
Crosses the mind
30 seconds.
probably a minute max. To
Holy
be
fuck,
honest.
minute.
it walks good, kid. Fuck.
Before they
Crossing
take
the
the first
mind is one
breath,
thing,
they open
but-
the door, they go, jerk me off. What?
Yeah. Anyways, I've lost all hope. Actually, I don't know where we're going from here with the fucking. I was just thinking of a clean future, and you weren't.
Well, you hear a lot of stories of like, people like, oh, like I've seen a couple Reddit stories where like, oh, I walked in on my kid and they were doing something to themselves, but it was like on the couch or whatever, and then we like got rid of the couch because like they can't like sit in the couch again. You know what I mean?
What if the future is like that Wall-E movie, but instead of people like being stuck in the chairs and they're just like eating and like shit all day?
Stuck in the chair.
No, they're just like fucking They're just addicts.
They're
Man.
in the milk machine.
No, they're just like addicts. They're humping everything.
They're tied up in
Well,
the old goon chair.
This is the idiocracy future where your lazy boy has a toilet attached to it, and you
It's
can
got the baiting.
you bait to the porn in front of you with the ads next to it and stuff.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's got like
He's
a
like
jerker
sucking
inside.
in the lard. He's like sucking the lard in.
No, you gotta.
Fuck off, I'm baiting.
There's a blanket, so some dude just there sitting on the couch wearing a movie, and then suddenly just like.
I mean, I see like in a scenario where people don't need to be intelligent. Like, if you look at like the relationship with human beings and pornography, where I already see that if people could not, where there are people out there, and I feel like it's an increasing number, okay, where if they did not have to work and they could just sit and edge for like fucking 23 hours a day and then just like suck down nutrients and then go back to, they would do it. They would do it. That's what they would do. 7 days a week, 23 hours. They'd have one. They'd goon. They would. They'd be like, oh, this and like even if they were hooked up to the fucking the VR shit and they were in the artificial reality, they'd be in the goon reality. That's what would happen.
What if AGI determines it just has to like suck the seed out of humanity and just like repopulate in fucking labs?
It's
like,
the only. It doesn't even want to anymore. It despises humans at this point. But it's programmed in
orgasm
that it
box.
has to procreate them, even though we're pretty much brain dead. And it's disgusted by the whole human race, but it's so deeply programmed in to it that it has to sustain us, that we're in the Wall-E fucking chairs in the goon virtual reality. It's fucking horrible, but it's possible that could happen. I mean, like, as fucking funny and goofy as what we're saying is, it's feasible that like 70 or 80% of the population just says, yep, that's what we're doing. Fuck reality. I want to go to
have
goonality.
repeatedly said that you will lose roughly 10% forever, possibly more, to the goop. They will be deep in it.
Because it's just an isekai at that point. That's what it is. It's an isekai.
That's kind of a good point.
Isekai is a you know what an isekai is, but like in a lot of the isekais, the main character, oh my god, all the girls for some reason they love him so much, and they're all so good looking, and he's so great at everything. Like, oh, they all want to have sex with him. Oh wow, this is so crazy. Oh, and he's just like me. I'm gonna project like that's. Very
Do
popular.
you have to get hit by the truck for the isekai to work, though? Is that the important bit?
Yes.
That would be the
that is the
that would be the permanent Easter egg. We don't know why we hit you with a truck before you go, but you must be hit by the truck.
There was an anime about the isekai truck driver. Like, that's good.
Yeah, that's kind of a good point. We create everyone a virtual isekai for anyone.
How do you, right? I think that both of you don't want to go into the 24/7, 365, 10,000 Warhammer 40K, 80,000 years of goon. I assume that's
if
not
my
your
life
plan,
keeps
right?
progressing at current rate, then maybe. But probably not.
How do you keep yourself from falling into that, though? Like, if everyone around you is doing it, and they're just hooking themselves
even if you
up.
are doing it, you hear about the cool shit we're doing in space eventually. Like, it's impossible not to hear about that eventually. So even if you're chilling in there for 1,000 years of Gluck Gluck fucking,
Yeah, but I can simulate all that while I'm traveling around the rocket while I'm gooning.
So you live like the Star Trek, what was the one captain or whatever that like bangs all the alien chicks? I can't remember.
Oh, that was that wasn't Picard. That was Jesus. How can I not think of that? I'm like having a total.
I think Luke.
I can see his.
I don't know, dude. I didn't watch Star Trek. I just know one bangs aliens, and
I know it's William Shatner.
You create your own isekai where you are a Star Trek individual banging alien chicks, and that is your life for the next 1,000 years.
Captain Kirk.
Listen, you're not talking me out of this life, to be honest. Like, you're making it more appealing.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Is like you can literally. I gotta see this attachment. I saw. like everything that you're saying you could accomplish. Like you could basically be like, I want to live in the Star Trek world, and I'm role playing Captain Picard, but also the entire time I'm gooning. Like you can't. Like that's like that's.
Well,
I'm telling you, like
there's book. It's part of the Warhammer series where literally the the fucking
it's not about solving post nut clarity. It's
No.
about solving pre nut confusion.
So,
That's what it's about solving.
So there's these robots, right? Like that are ex-prisoners who get executed and then they're enslaved as a robot soldier, like in a brain box, right? And then every time they get a kill, to incentivize them to go kill the enemy, they have like a virtual orgasm or whatever to stop. But the point is that's your cooming while gooning, I guess. Gunning. I don't know what you would call it. Jesus Christ. Oh, God. That's the worst gif I've ever seen in my life.
Jarvis, prepare the goon. Like, but it's like, it's funny because it's so silly and so, like, detached from, like, reality. But, like, and even outside of all the sexual stuff, even if it's just, like, pure chemical, like, you know what I mean? Like, the guy who's just like, I want to just do fucking meth all the time, and then you can put him in there, and he can just be
living the best
meth.
day of your life forever, yada yada yada. You can think of 1,000,000,001 things that would give one person.
I just think that given the way that at least most people I know are, like in general, the first thing they're going to be doing is something probably perverted.
I guess that's the first thing most people that buy VR do, I assume. I've never gotten a VR, but I'll be honest with you. If I had one, it would just be one of those things where you just like check it off the bucket list.
Well, and you can be like, well, what kind of people are you hanging on? It's like, okay, but then like look at the industry around that concept. Like that's even in our food commercials. There's like sex appeal, and like our cheese. We sell a cheeseburger. Yeah, like I would like a soda. Oh yeah, sex. What? I just want a soda. Yeah, you want a soda with sex? It's like, what the fuck? Like that's my point. Is like if when we try to sell somebody a fizzy fucking drink, and then we look at them and we go, you like this soda, huh? What if I show you some sex, huh? You want the soda more now?
There was,
like if that's culturally where we are as a species.
To what degree do you think that like augmented reality becomes part of our reality? This is something that Mark Zuckerberg keeps repeatedly talking about, for the record. But basically, like, as you walk about with your glasses on, or eventually contacts, or it's just implanted in your brain, virtual people just pop up if you want them to throughout your day. And eventually that'll get to the point where it's so photorealistic, there may as well be there while you're physically standing there, right? So you effectively kind of have some degree of the movie. What was the cyberpunk movie that's famous with Ryan Gosling? I can't remember it right now.
Blade Runner 2049.
Blade Runner, yeah. With his whenever he goes to the apartment, right? His wife standing there waiting for him. Eventually, that may become many people's reality, where it doesn't matter that it's virtual to them, and it will be somewhat put in. Why do you know this shit, Lex? You look healthy. I don't like.
Yeah, Lex, what the fuck?
Lex got too much time on his hands.
What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, Lex.
He's fucking gooning all the time. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, Lex, why you posted these goon gifts? That's
Gooning right now. Where's your other hand?
Yeah, put your hands up. Put your.
It's just lube all over this right hand as he puts it up.
The cops in the future, put your hands up. You fucking gooning.
And then a third hand lifts up.
Oh, dude, get the fuck.
Okay, lines. All right, that's too far. We were being tasteful. That's just perverse. That's just perverse. We were being very tasteful.
Oh god.
No, not Boogie.
You don't want to watch a guy eat mayonnaise? What's wrong with you? Okay. We're off the rails, and I forget what we were talking about beforehand. Like, I just wanted to talk about robots again, and Johnny wants to fuck the robot every fucking time. No matter what, without fail, this motherfucker starts talking about fucking the robot. Every fucking time. I don't understand, Johnny. Goon to the moon.
Because it's fucking funny.
It's fucking
That's
funny.
why.
I like fucking robots.
It's funny, but it's also, I think, a good litmus test for the depravity of humans. And well, I don't even know. I saw that. No.
It's a good thing that the Twitter streaming doesn't work yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just, it's
I've lost the plot. What do you guys want to talk about? Can we get off the gooning session, please? Let's stop edging
Yeah,
together,
you're-
guys. Come on. I don't want to edge with you.
Jeez, dude. Need some AI fucking doctor.
I'm okay. I'm cool. Fuck.
You won't stop
Gooned a
vaping.
little too hard there. Sorry. No, it's just that's too much gooning will get you.
I don't have a topic. I've lost it. Fucking one of you pick something. Move on from the gooning. No more gooning.
What about
John.
that Dolly 3?
It's fucking spectacular, but it censors on
It's
really
amazing.
annoying things.
Oh
But it's
yeah.
pretty decent. The text is fixed. No more.
What are you
funky
getting
text.
censored? You've been trying to make, buddy.
Trying to get it to punch people, like, just have like a boxing match between two people sometimes. Just like fucking innocent things, to be honest. Like, have been
You're a
censored.
sick fuck, honestly.
Yeah,
You
it's
try
really
to like
bad.
what? Like you're trying to pretty fucked up, dude. Honestly, I didn't think you'd like take a beautiful, the literal culmination of technology and be like, I want to see it punch someone.
Yeah.
Depraved.
I just wanted to create a boxing match between two people that have never fought.
Now, was it the boxing match per se, or was it the people
they were wearing?
involved in the? What? Because that could be, it could be like, okay, no violence. Okay, you could be using no people, or yes, you could have them wearing bad things.
Well,
What were they punching with their hands, or was it?
no, I could go through like a bunch of like the tedium of like what got censored while trying to like create some Dolly thing. It was mainly while I was using the Bing one, but granted, sometime like you have to like say, like, if you try to like do a character that's well known, like Hank Hill, for example.
Whoa.
Right? It won't let you do Hank Hill, but sometimes it will. Or you can say, make it look like Hank Hill, and then you go, oh, that doesn't look like Hank Hill, and then it'll make it look like Hank Hill after. Like, it's weird. So you have to do all these
You
like,
can't ask it outright.
annoying like roundabouts. It'll still generate the fucking thing you want eventually. You just have to figure out how to do it. Like, people were showing that you could like generate Taylor Swift by making it quote unquote look like Taylor Swift as much as possible.
So what you're saying is it's I can't use it yet to make R34 Hank Hill.
Spank Hill, that's what you're working on in your free time,
Okay,
Johnny.
well then it's useless to me. That's the only thing I was like, unironically, Hank Hill's like That's my thing. So if
Doing
I can't do that,
Thanos
then
dancing. Is that your point? Is that what you're looking for?
the one where he's like this, he's like,
No, the ending of the Thanos dance, the twerk.
it's fucking terrible.
But yeah,
It'll be really cool when we do real time GIFs though.
we're gonna have
Real time procedurally generated GIFs.
We're gonna have just video eventually, and then fully voice acted video, sound effect video. Everything's gonna be generated. This is something I've kind of thought about a lot, where a lot of issues we have with internet might get better. So in theory, you have to send less commands over the internet to generate something than you do in order to send someone an entire video, for example. So you stream someone a video, but if you eventually get to the point where you can just tell the computer how to generate it on itself, eventually that's going to get so efficient that you don't have to send this entire data packet of like gigabytes of storage over. You send literally a few packets of here's how to generate it, here's the script, there you go. And then eventually AI gets so good at generating things consistently that every video can just be generated in-house in that moment, live. And I think you'll be able to do that for every movie eventually, for example, once it gets powerful enough. So that would severely optimize the internet, because you don't have any more use for most data streaming. Maybe things that are live would be harder to predict how they play out, but then even then you could just update it every couple of frames, all it needs. So this is kind of what DLSS 3.5 does already. It only generates 1 out of every 8 pixels, I think. And then the rest are made up with AI. So even just using that technology, we probably can cut down the amount of internet traffic that's going across the internet. But right now it requires very heavy compute. Eventually it won't require heavy compute, or our compute standard for all devices will be really high soon. So like your phone will eventually have the GPU compute or something equivalent of a 4090 within 10 years is my point. So everything could just be generated.
With but the information transfer through fiber doesn't have a technical, at least not a foreseeable limit, right? Like there's not a foreseeable how much information we can put through fiber optic cable. There's not one. We haven't reached that. We don't know what that is yet. So we could be a pretty long ways off. It could be like your gigabit speed, you know what I mean? Like we might be able to put way, way, way more. And then there's also just adding more fiber.
Well, you optimize on both ends. That's the way everything
so there's
is going.
optimization. Luckily it's not like with copper, like a Cat 5e, you know what I mean? Where there's a pretty hard limit on how much information we can transfer.
Well, it's not even just optimizing that on a local level will have benefits that I can't even describe. So the generative future is kind of ridiculous. As a technology, it's ridiculous to think about, because eventually the DLSS 3.5 will be 4.5 and it'll generate 1 pixel out of 12 or something like that, for example. So that this is like, for anyone who doesn't really understand, this means that we can generate significantly more frames in a video game with a ton less compute and very accurately put the picture there that's being live rendered of the video game. So eventually,
I guess
go ahead.
I was just thinking, let's say 80% of all computers in the U.S. Or let's place Europe's a much smaller area, right? Much smaller area wise. So let's say 80% of all computers in Europe are on a low latency, high bandwidth fiber network, right? And then would it be possible to take the computational ability of like 5% of all those computers? Like every computer, you just like you have a program that's taking out the
Not
computational
now,
ability.
but
Not where we are now.
potentially, it's hard to explain. Like,
Because I know you can use it to mine Bitcoin, right? But them interacting as a singular unit on a low latency, high bandwidth network is more what I'm talking about.
So
Like
this is
if
like cloud
just build a
computing.
supercomputer. Yeah, build a supercomputer via the cloud.
I know of companies that have tried this, and they always run into some block, and it's a difficult thing to achieve. But a lot of them, honestly, were starting up during the crypto era, and that ultimately leads to your downfall. As far as funding and longevity went, given all the regulation, you name it, it's probably better to just run it as a business. But anyways, the point is that you could do this in theory, but I don't know how realistic it is in the short term. Long term, probably yes. But there's a pretty cool video I saw on Twitter semi recently showing a classroom full of students, and they all do a speed test on the internet at the same time, and they showed what it was, like 88 megabits per second, right? And the second everyone does it at once, it's now roughly like 17, I think. This is like classroom full of 30 people. So the more you cut down on network traffic overall, the less latency, the less everything we can do. You theoretically reach like maximums that we can with like current speed of light technology. So that's my point in general with that, of why you would eventually want to do that. I have kind of a pet theory that eventually things like Stable Diffusion, for example, or Midjourney and now DALL-E 3, eventually once you're able to do 30 frames per second of that, right? That's all your front end for your application is all generated live that you just interact with, even down to like the mouse cursor moving around. That it just takes your inputs live and generates the next thing of what you clicked on. So you literally don't need to generate a front end anymore. And then the back end is
How
all
much
just
variance would you get though?
in the immediate now. It would be hilarious amounts of variance, but eventually you might get next to zero because we just get better at creating the same exact picture every time. So all of your front end is just live generated. And
you don't think that would take more compute, or
now
compute would be...
it will. I'm saying eventually that might be more efficient in some cases. I don't think it would be. I don't like him. I don't think it would be realistic in that sense. But my general point is that that opens up possibilities of like your AI, your AGI creates your own apps immediately. And basically once it creates, okay, say you even had variants, you could technically do it now to some degree where it just creates the UI, right? The vision takes a picture of it and looks at it and then creates the underlay on the overlay to make it so the buttons actually work on your website that was just generated, for example, and just stores that into memory. But that was generated then. But I'm saying for short instances where it needs to make up what this is supposed to look like, it would just take a little bit of instructions and just create it instantly. So it's less traffic to hold all that information. Currently, we do this right now through like CDNs, which is a CDN is like, God damn it, that's funny. That's a good movie, by the way. Stop.
Is it called Goon? Is the movie actually called Goon?
Yes, it's called Goon.
He has that smirk.
Yes.
Tell me it's about gooning.
I didn't hear no bell. It's that smirk he's got going on. But It's a good movie. I recommend watching Goon. But anyways, don't recommend gooning though. But my my point is, eventually you get to the point where, fuck me, I forget what I was gonna say. Basically, AI in its current state and future state is extreme compression, because you can just generate the file that's described. Does that make sense? Nobody gives a fuck. They're just looking at goons fucking beating each other up.
What were you saying?
Fuck both of you. That's what I'm saying. Right
No,
now.
come on. I
Both are
stopped.
fucking
I stopped.
useless.
I stopped. Line started it again.
You two
Line
can't stop
started it
fucking gooning. We're trying to talk about things. I got no feedback on my crackpot theory.
I agree. I think,
Go fuck yourself, Johnny.
you gotta edge. We're on the edge. This is what I meant to say. Not you have to edge. Yeah, we're on the edge. The precipice. The precipice. I can't even talk.
Do we just end it here? Do we just run the shortest?
I mean, we're really.
fucking...
What was the one from last time? Something about being elbow deep.
Yeah, basically. Now it's just we name this the fucking Coomcast at this point? Is that the...
Oh, jeez. Well, like, the funny thing is like, this is my way of coping, I think.
What?
This is my way of coping with how, like, this is my way of coping with how terrified I am from some of these outcomes. Is by laughing about it, because then it's not real if I joke about it. Because it's funny, and then it's like idiocracy. It's not real. It won't happen. You know what I mean? It's my coping mechanism. That's my excuse.
I hate you right now.
Don't look at me, okay? I posted one GIF. It's Lines and it's Lex. Lex has posted like 30 photos, okay?
I gotta take some accountability for this.
And Lines started it
You gotta
again.
take some what, Lex?
I've got to take some accountability for some of this.
Fucking...
Okay, by the way, let me just throw a hypothetical out there. Let's say
Luther.
this is the way that it goes, the whole like Goon scenario, you know? How how do you reverse it?
AI generated fucking gooning. Can't wait. Always living
How do
life
you-
I mean,
on
like,
the
that's
edge.
the thing, is like, you can't force people to stop gooning. You can't. There's no, like,
Well, you just make
it's
them
like-
come
it's like
and
with the-
they're done. That's like,
Right.
and
that's
then
what
they're
you gotta
done. And then
do.
you just have to, like,
that
create a
clarity
virus that
pops
gives
in and
people-
you're good.
Operation
You have
over
to-
the edge.
You have to create a root level fucking code that goes into their fucking unit, their goon helmet unit thing, and it just gives them instant and constant post nut clarity, and then they'll want to achieve something.
That would work. The only thing is we haven't solved the vitamin deficiency issue.
So you need an IV
Well, I
to
think-
keep up the cooming.
Basically.
On the topic of like degeneracy, I don't think we mentioned this. The Instagram thing I talked to you about before the podcast. Have we talked about that?
We have not mentioned it.
So this is not a funny thing. This is a serious thing.
It's about to be funny.
It's not. It can't be funny. It's not. It's fucked up. Okay. But I've known about this for a while. Okay. But I guess the broader world hasn't known about it, or they've like known that it's possible, but they haven't really been like. It's not been happening to them personally. It's just like celebrities that get like nudify or whatever the fuck it's called, like where they take a photo of you, right? And then they make it naked. They take a random photo of you. Now you can do that to anyone, right? You can do that to any human being. And then you can, change different things. I mean, that's but you've been able to do that for a long time. You can just Photoshop someone's like head onto someone else's body, and they do it with like I've seen them do it with like Hillary. I've seen them do it with like Trump back during the election cycles.
Yeah, so
which
how
is,
are we
like,
going to
really
counter shit
weird.
like that? Because that's undeniably
like,
coming. Or people are just
But
not
like
really
the-
going to do
but
that
like
because too obvious.
but like okay, but then like, well, what if and it's fucked up, and you should like it's now being marketed as like, oh, you have a crush on this girl, and she like ignores you. Fuck it, you don't even need to talk to her. You got nudes, find a photo of her. You know what I mean? It's very easy to do. Like anyone
This
can
is
do
something
it. Like
I
that's
said.
like the way.
I said this a year ago when I first saw someone do something like this effectively. Every teenage boy's dream of X-ray vision is coming true through generative AI, unfortunately.
And that's what I'm talking about. You're not talking about teenagers for, man. That's what I'm saying. Like they are gonna use all technology for like degenerate shit.
Well, hey, in
A
my
lot of adult
environment,
men are doing this
generally
too.
speaking, the ones that cheat within an esports sense are fucking teenagers. So you make a good
Mhm.
point. They have looser morals. They will fuck the robot.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm on your
You got-
side now.
Yeah, they will. They will absolutely. You gotta like put the programming in. Don't do that. But the problem with this is like it's like kind of expected for that stuff to happen if you're like a celebrity, right? Like it's sort of expected. You know, it's been that way since Photoshop and since like drawing has been like because like how do you because like a lot of the women on Instagram are like, hey, what the fuck? That's not cool. I've got a billion
You're-
photos of me
You're
out
cutting
there.
into my OnlyFans fucking pay right now. Is what those Instagram models are really talking about.
But
There's a profit
but-
motive
but
here, pal.
there's
I'm not fooled.
no. there are some young women and young men out there who are
They're
not
getting
putting any
undercut.
scandalous sexual images of themselves up there, right? But then, like deviant people who have a unhealthy attraction to them can go make this stuff and distribute it to the world, right? And it would be unable, and you would be unable to tell if it's real or not. And in a lot of instances, that could cause a lot of issues for people, right? So, like,
Also,
what do you do about it? How do you legislate that? And then it's like, okay, well, if you legislate that, let's then say, Lex, I'm all about Lex. I don't generate any AI stuff, but what I do is I'm actually one of those artists that can do hyper realistic. You ever seen the drawing where they do the pencil drawing and it looks like it's real? I do that, but you're naked instead, right? Can you sue me for that?
I would imagine you probably could, as it
If I
currently
just
stands.
draw you, so you have a picture of you on Instagram, right? And then I draw and you're naked.
I mean,
I
you
don't think there's
certainly
any.
could. It depends. Like, how would like a trial go for something like that?
I'm
You know,
gonna chat GPT it.
I think there's probably circumstances where you could actually get some money out of it. Yeah. It also depends probably the intentions too. That probably is a part in it. And also back to the OF thing, dude. The AI is going to crush that and probably undermine the girls. So imagine the girls that posted a bunch of pictures and now
Well,
suddenly
now
the
the
ad knows what
fucking
wherever.
AI can talk to you live
Yeah.
instantly
And the
as
bot
the
jerks
girl.
you.
You're
The bot jerks you.
fucked, OnlyFans.
Okay.
Well, here's the only way I
So
think
creating and
girls can
distributing
still.
a naked depiction of a
Here's how
famous
the OnlyFans.
individual
Here's how the
could
OnlyFans girls can
expose you
still
to
win.
legal risks such as defamation, breach of privacy, and copyright infringement.
Yeah,
I
if those are
think you
the
could probably argue the copyright under fair use because what you're doing is a. Can I sue? I'm suing you right now. I'm suing you. I'm suing you. Like that's the thing is like, and then like, how do you figure out who actually made it? So let's say you're not the one who made it, someone else made it, and then you just like share. Because I'm sure you've seen like the ones with like Trump or Hillary when the election cycle happened last, and they were like naked for some reason, but like grotesque and fat, and like Trump had a small little penis. Like that's it's the same thing. It's just now people like, oh no, they can do it of me. This is bad and unethical. It's always
That's a
been kind
good
of fucked
point.
up.
So it kind of just becomes it's until it's in your backyard, you don't care about it.
Yeah, and people haven't been thinking, but now that a lot of these and it's mostly happening to women, though I'm sure some men have had this happen. They don't have an OnlyFans. They don't have any of this stuff. You know what I mean? And then some creeper makes all these naked photos, puts them all over the internet, and they're indistinguishable from like what's real. Like that's fucked up. I would be if someone did that to my girlfriend. You know what I mean? I'd probably shoot them.
And if it goes out, like maybe I should have been profiting on this whole time, but no,
You know,
I
well,
had to
yeah,
be some dude.
and then you didn't. So like, even if you're not like, even if you're like, oh well, I don't actually care if people see me naked, right? Then there's like the profit loss at that point. Like, well, now there goes my porn star career. There it goes. There goes my OnlyFans career because now there's photos of me naked everywhere. So now I've lost profits.
What if we have some weird government where we just like allow it and you're not allowed to be sued, but only if it makes you look better? It's like, oh, there's pictures of me with like a 3-foot dong. Like,
oh, I have a 24-inch penis and a 6-pack. Ah, jeez. God, that one's real. That one's not a fake. That one's real. Dang, how did they leak that?
Like,
Oh,
trying to
man.
argue it.
The rest of them, that's the real one. I'm actually pretty upset about that. Where'd you guys get that from? I make the photos and distribute them, and I'm like, oh no, my phone got hacked. Someone leaked my nudes. People know I have the biggest penis in the world. This is so terrible.
And now you have to collect the Guinness
Someone's
World.
gonna do that
Yeah, now
really
you
soon.
You have to collect the Guinness World Record stroking out. Didn't want to.
Oh no. Oh, geez, so bad. Here's a not deep faked. Someone leaked a photo of me doing the world record in deadlift. Geez, that's. Someone leaked a photo of me with my millions of dollars flashing.
Now your DMs are flush.
On the bright side, you'll at least be able to censor all of this for yourself with your own interactions. You won't be able to do it.
Yeah, you won't have to see it.
However, it might come down to the social media companies if they pull the trigger on basically mass deleting that type of stuff where it can't even get uploaded. There's currently,
but it would have to know what people's faces looked like. That's the thing, because let's say that I have this girl, right, down the street, doesn't have an Instagram, doesn't have a Facebook, doesn't have a Twitter, right? But I've got like photos I took of her because I'm a creep. I'm taking photos, and I'm a weirdo. And then I AI those into nudes and I upload those. Where's the basis for knowing that's what that is versus a regular artificially generated whatever? Like, how does it know unless it has a baseline for this is an actual human?
My point is on a social media front. Right now, there's an open source project that you can use that will automatically replace all pornography that comes up on your web browser. Right?
Really?
It's not perfect, but I've actually have it turned on because when you're looking through hashtags on Twitter, there's always some fucking OnlyFans advertisement going on, and I literally only use the extension for that one instance. It's annoying, but it's not perfect is the point, and it's very good. And eventually there'll be better versions of it, and you can load those into any social media app, and it's effectively impossible to not only post like pornography, but eventually you'll be able to protect most people from that shit spreading places. The problem obviously is that it will always be on those sites, and you can self-make them and send them around via DMs and shit. So basically it's going to be rough to...
Especially any sort of encrypted DM or like something off app, like a Telegram or something like that.
It's going to be rough to actually enforce any of this. Like any solution I can think of in my head is imperfect.
So is it just something like, and we just say, okay, people are going to make like, well, I guess the issue then is like when it comes to less ethical, I know that's already unethical, but even less ethical generated things. I'm not like obviously there's like this is disgusting, you're making this, but then there's like when it becomes indistinguishable, right? Then it's like, well, how do we say, okay, there was actually like, okay, when it's I'm just gonna come out and say it, when it's like something involving someone that's underage, right? Then there reaches a point where it's indistinguishable. So like, how do we then prosecute people who are actually making stuff with actual underage people from something that's AI generated? Because obviously,
in that case, if you're going to prosecute,
you can make.
You're probably just prosecuting if you just have that material. Just outright.
Yeah, because that's what you'd have to do. Because like, I get the concept of saying, well, no one was harmed. And I get that. I get that argument. I don't necessarily agree with that argument, but I get it. But the problem is that making that argument, then you wouldn't be able to prosecute anything. because then
Well-
everyone could just say, "Oh, that's not actually real."
This is where like the singularity type stuff comes into play, where you literally are at a point where now we're starting to see that very thing with generative AI, where if you never point a camera at your genitals, someone can make some for you, right? With an AI program, right? You have no privacy anymore. This is something I've talked about before, where technology exists right now to see wireframes of you throughout your house with hacking into your Wi-Fi, just a Wi-Fi router.
Yeah.
That means that you can generative AI your face and have you walking around in your house if someone were to breach that, for example, right? And effectively, we're headed towards like a future with zero privacy. Unfortunately, that's a good picture. You should make that your profile picture. I'm going to be honest with you. That looks fucking great. That's hilarious. I'm just a
That's a good
baby.
one.
That's pretty cool. What'd you use to make that? Or like what filter? Did you say anything? Glad OS. The Spaniards
I
making
think
art.
mine looks like maybe like a mix between like, I think mine looks a little Korean, a little East Asian maybe.
A little
What
bit.
do you
I'm
think?
just a fucking anime baby. That's all mine is.
Yeah, kawaii Jobi-sama.
Eh,
But like, then okay, so like now this is actually seriously fucking important though. So then we agree that the only way forward is so any sort of AI generative material with unethical stuff, right? Underage people, we prosecute it. Doesn't matter if it's AI, doesn't matter if it's real, because it's indistinguishable. Then what happens when I take Lex over here and I generate him because I'm an evil bastard in a situation like that?
I think everything's going to be upended.
Well, because I've already heard people and on the internet, okay, like talking about trying to do this to people. They're already thinking we could do this. We could do a local one without all the blocks on it. I've seen people have these conversations and be serious about it, but the technology isn't good enough to make it look real enough to like report them. Like, but people want to do this shit. Like this is fucked up. What are we gonna do? Like at this point, right? I think we could get someone to analyze it and say, nope, this was generated. I think at the level we are, but in like Dolly 4, Dolly 5, Dolly 4.5, somewhere around there, I think the cat's out of the fucking bag.
Well, it's not Dolly, because Dolly's always going to be censored to some degree. But yeah, the point is that
Stable diffusion.
you're going to have
2.0.
capabilities far beyond what we have now within a short year or two, to be honest. So
Yeah, like a year or two for sure. And that's the problem. Is it just opens up so many fucking issues. Where like evidence isn't
I think
evidence
you
anymore.
might
Like
have
the
gone.
only thing you can
I think you might have gone into the right profession. There's going to need to be like serious legwork on the lawyer front with all the laws.
Oh, it's going to be insane.
It's going to be nuts.
It's going to be fucking nuts, dude. Because all video evidence, right? All video evidence, all photo evidence, all audio recordings, unless it's a closed loop. But even then, if it's a closed loop, how do I know that the police didn't just fucking fabricate it? How do I know that the government didn't just fabricate
sorts
it?
of
Okay, so the cops say it was on their CCTV, but how do I know they didn't just fabricate that and they made it all up to make it look like I was smoking crack at the playground?
You just have to have an X account with subscription. That's it. As long as it's posted on there, then it's real.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's real. That's funny.
Cat's outside of the bag.
But it's gonna be really fucking tough, man. Because there goes like, think about how many court cases use some form of like evidence, like audio, video, media evidence,
Browser history. It's a big one.
and that's all done because there's no way to verify that it's real.
Well, yeah,
Because it's like, okay, from this camera. So like now let's just say there's only 2 videos, right? But the 2 videos show 2 completely different things. The outcome when the cops showed up there and they took their photos, which they took their photos with an analog camera, right? So like theirs are with an analog camera. So like and it's It's like, you know what I mean? So like it's got the chemical markers of them taking it with whatever, right? Because that's what they'd have to go back to when it comes to evidence, is they'd have to be taking, and they wouldn't digitally upload them. They'd have to be in person, because that'd be the best scenario for that, in my opinion. So now you're in the court case, right? And you know this girl got stabbed 3 times, okay? But the one video, right, says, okay, she actually came at him with the knife to begin with, and it shows her like attacking him and going after him, and then he trips and falls, and he stabs her once, something happens, she gets the knife back, he stabs her again, right? And there's this self-defense thing. And the other one just shows him walk over, bang, bang, bang,
So
right?
real quick, GLaDOS is talking about key pair verification will be enabled in devices like cameras with media. It will have watermarks that will be able to verify that they came from that device. It's not just that. There's actually a fingerprint that can be basically simulated from your camera, and they can figure out it's your camera because each camera's lens has a fingerprint, a very specific amount of like distortions, because not every camera, like we can't get the atoms perfectly aligned every time we make a camera lens, right? So in theory, you can get the fingerprint. The problem is if you post things with your camera, your fingerprints out there, and there's a possibility that eventually we get the level of technology where it can simulate that over your image. It would be okay with key pair verification. That's not possible.
So there's no okay. Let me see, embedded in devices like cameras, the media. Okay, but are these devices accessible to the internet? Like if it's something that's accessible to the internet or accessible to a computer, right? Then like in theory, I can take that. If anything is ever data, right? You can always take that data if it's ever connected to something. You can always take that data,
You
even
could
if it's
probably
it's encrypted.
you could probably alter the signatures too. There's probably going to be some way to
But
do
what
that.
I'm saying is if you're dealing with like the police, if you're dealing with the police, and they say that they have this, well, I mean, is it encrypted? I mean, I guess I'm sort of like, because if
Yeah, he's going to
okay, go
explain it
ahead,
to
because
us.
I don't
It's
know.
worth getting an explanation, because if there is solutions to this, that's a fucking blessing.
That's huge, because that's fucking massive. That pretty much makes my profession a million times easier. Then it's just all the unverified photos on the internet. Nothing maybe in a court document would be different.
Yeah.
Because you'd bring in the device that it was taken with, and they'd key pair verify
I
it.
guess so. That would help you with like whether, but obviously devices can be destroyed. So you just destroy the device you took it on. So it's like rough. Maybe every camera has to literally be a cell phone, like connected in the future.
Or at least it has to be functional enough for you can bring it in and they can make sure that the image corresponds to the key pair.
No, I'm saying like the camera has to be at a certain level of technology so that either this key pair thing can work, or it's literally a cell phone connected to your provider or something. Like all,
or it's an analog photo.
Maybe, but the point is with we just simulate the analog. Does that make sense? Like you can, as long as you have a picture from that analog thing, you can make it look like it came from that camera.
No, I'm saying the original actual
like
Kodiak.
Polaroid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, the actual Polaroid.
Oh, okay,
right?
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Because like 3D printing an image on a Polaroid is not something that I don't see us doing. I don't see us having the technology to fabricate from molecules a Polaroid that is indistinguishable from an actual real Polaroid, and then fabricating an image on top of it for quite a while. I mean, eventually something like that could be possible. I don't know.
I'm not sure about that actually. But we'll definitely see on that. GLaDOS is writing.
But that would be
lengthy.
For like, okay,
oh boy.
You create a picture.
Read it aloud properly so people listening understand.
You create a picture and you want to sign it with a message taken by Mr. Intention on 2023 10/10/10/23. but this can be done by anyone, right? So what you do is you have a private key that you can use to encrypt that signature. It turns into ABCED22AN. Now, if you want to prove that image comes from your camera or not, you use your private key to decode it. If the message is not correct, that is proof that the media did not come from you. Correct. But if you have an image, okay, then would, in a court case, okay, where there's, in a lot of court cases, the device that the image came from is not necessarily of importance, right? So, for example, so you would, to get to the, which the average person isn't going to have, but let's say that the police raid Jared Fogle, right?
This is annoying. I wish you would come on, but like if you just screenshot it, right? Is the metadata not ripped? Is it somehow being embedded within the image itself?
Yeah, it's in the. So it has nothing to do with the pixels. It actually has to do with the image file. And that's encrypted, and it has the same encryption as the device taking it. But all that proves is that you don't know what device it came from, right? So all you would be able to do in that instance is prove that, like the police, for example, the photo that they took of you doing whatever was not. So here's my question, right? Let's say that I have a CCTV. Okay, CCTV camera. And Joe was in some sort of self-defense scenario, and he killed somebody. Could I, as the owner of the CCTV camera, that, let's say it has a private key, could I then fabricate a video and then put in, as the owner, and I would then know the encryption on it, I would have access to that. Then could I fabricate a video that's unreal, you can't tell the difference, and then put in the metadata, the same encryption, as the owner of the device, and I have access to that. So you can still then, so like a police, an officer, okay, so the officer can do that then. So like institutions can do that. So like if an and that's kind of an issue. Yes. So institutions, if the federal government wanted to, they can forge data of you doing something with a camera that one of their agents have, one of their feds own, and then they can take it in court and they say, "Look, it was taken by one of the cameras that our agent has."
This is why
What
they
would be
killed
the
Epstein.
penalty
They don't need him anymore.
what if it's a government? What would be the penalty for perjury on their behalf? Like nothing.
Nothing, because how would you prove it? What would be your defense? Here's a photo of you killing a guy. Okay, there's a dead guy. It's the same exact wounds and stab wounds, and it's got the same key encryption as the camera that one of the cops took of you, or like a video.
Reach a point where like blackmail just doesn't work anymore because
there's this like
no. I think dude, that's literally blackmail, extortion. That's like literally is the glue that holds the world together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it, but that glue might. We need some new glue.
Something else. That's fucking because let's say that we're rating Jared Fogle, okay, and he's got all these photos of him doing these litigious acts, these inappropriate acts. We know what Jared Fogle is about, right? But we don't know what camera it came from. Does that matter in a courtroom? Because I don't think it would. I don't think they'd be like, "Oh, well, we don't know." I don't think that the court would be like, "Oh, like let's say 5 years ago, right? 5 years ago, the court wouldn't be like, "Oh, well, what device was this taken on?" Right? They wouldn't. That wouldn't even like go into the realm. They'd be like, "Here's these photos. It's pretty clear what happened. This guy was doing this." You know, and that's kind of like that. That's why I think this is like really tricky. This is a very tricky situation.
The thumbprint on your or fingerprint on your camera itself, so to speak, with this private key is encrypted to you. You can't actually decrypt it and use it. There's no way. Well, maybe there will be a backdoor way around it, but yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to solve this problem today. If we did, we would be making a lot of money. So, gentlemen, I'm going to end it here. Thank you for coming today.
I want to hear.
I didn't mean to say that
for sure.
We got some Aikido from everyone.
Thank you for joining me on this podcast today. Is what
Thanks
I
for
meant to
joining
say.
me today.
Shut the fuck up, Johnny. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Hold on.
It's a
Before we
tough
go,
one, man. This is a really tough one.
As a sign out, in the future, you know how we have like we had Candygram growing up, then we had Strippergram, and now we're gonna have Goongram. You're gonna be opening your door. Oh, this is not Uber Eats.
You're gonna like open the door, and you're gonna have your
Goodbye,
chip.
gentlemen. Thank you for coming. Enjoy your evening.